So Nick Fuentes, I don't even know how many times at this point since Donald Trump has been elected has come out to just bash him in every way, talking about him backtracking on promises, destroying everything, cutting Medicaid. And then, of course, he's mad because he's not extreme enough on things like deportations. And one of the things I always talk about is how Democrats are always kicking people out of here, but the rumor can persists that they don't. But anyway, Nick Fuentes has been at the center of a lot of the Republican back and forth as he's been at war with Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson, and kind of swallowing what remains of the MAGA movement into America First. But he definitely has become more prominent in the last several months. But this takedown, honestly, is probably the best one that I've ever seen. And Nick Fuentes obviously is still a, racist, anti-Semitic, sexist, loser piece of shit. But Trump is losing everybody. And this, what Nick is about to say is just so accurate.
Anything he's saying here.
More unpopular maybe than ever. His favorability is in the toilet. His approval is in the toilet. Specifically, his approval on immigration and the economy is very bad. For the first time in years, voters actually favor Democrats on the economy over Republicans. People blame Trump for the state of the economy more than they blame Biden. Numbers polling his own base, polling Republicans, independents. Any way you cut it, it is catastrophically bad. And he has only himself to blame. Cutting Medicaid to pay for corporate tax cuts. Doge was a total failure. We're bombing Iran. Prices have not gone down and the economy has not recovered. The tariffs have been a complete disaster. Mounting signs all over the economy. We're in a real estate bubble. Consumer spending is slowing. The job market is frozen. They're not even releasing the jobs report in October. On top of all that,
they just, we're not going to put the jobs numbers out. We had to look at ADP for that and how many, jobs are being lost. What Nick is saying right here is 100% true. The economy is completely imploding. Thousands and thousands of people are being laid off from major corporations in the United States. Prices continue to skyrocket. And affordability is, nothing's being done about that. When Trump won the election, he talked about how affordability was like a word he invented, and he invented the word groceries. And, no one's ever talked about this before, but now he's saying how affordability is a Democrat hoax. It's a hoax that people are having a difficult time paying their bills and feeding themselves at the grocery stores. But we'll continue.
Going to release the Epstein files. It is a total disaster. That is why he's unpopular, and it's self-inflicted. It is because rather than keep his promises, all that this administration has done is enrich the people that are in it. Rampant, basically criminal levels of corruption in this government. The very people that Trump brought in to drain the swamp, they're looting D.C., taking everything that isn't nailed down practically.
Which is the Republican prerogative in general, but now it's just completely brazen. There's no tact to it. There's no grace with it. They're not even trying to hide what's going on.
Fucking stealing. They're corrupt. Why do you think they brought these people in? Someone like Howard Lutnick and David Sachs. They are criminals. Contrary to what the true believers, the plan trusters say, this is not actually the result of a political system that is so difficult to overcome. They can't do it in a matter of 5 years. They're not even trying. It is actually for a lack of trying. It's a joke. Kristi Noem is a joke. Kash Patel is a joke. Pete Hegseth is a joke. People allegedly are in there blackmailing him. Every person in this cabinet is a complete disaster. And the reason it's like this is because it's all patronage. Trump got in office to stay out of jail. He had to cut deals to get money. And now that he's in, he had to reward the donors by allowing them to pick the cabinet members, reward other people in the party with these patronage posts. And now this is what we're getting. Utter and complete catastrophe. There's no deportations. We hit the H-1B cap. We're in a war with Iran. We're going to go back very soon. It's just like one cataclysm after the next. It is in this context where Trump posts something like this. Poll numbers down, favorability down the tubes. Economy sucks. All these wars are breaking out all over again. Everybody's deeply unhappy. What do? Let it rip with the racism. Let it rip with the retard. Let it rip.
And again, he's not done yet. Like I said, this really is probably the best takedown that this man has ever given on Donald Trump. But I mean, this wasn't a secret, Nick. It was not a secret that Donald Trump is a con out artist who has no intention of following through on his word in any area of his life. It's been known that he doesn't know what he's doing, that he's completely uncurious about the world, that he has no knowledge. It's one thing to have no knowledge, another thing to be uncurious. That's like the worst pair. Being uncurious about the world and what's in it and how it operates, and then knowing nothing. All Donald Trump has ever bothered to know is how to swindle people, how to rip them off. That's all he knows how to do. That's all he's ever done. So this isn't new information. So when people talk about how they can't believe Trump is doing what he's doing, or they're so angry as if we didn't have a full term of this fool already. So, you can give people their cookies for stating the obvious, and it makes good content. But at the end of the day, like, y'all knew what y'all was voting for.
With nativism, I know what'll get those stupid idiots back on my side. I'm going to do a racist rant. I'm going to go on Twitter and True Social, and I'm going to let it rip. And I'm going to be obnoxious and belligerent, politically incorrect and brash and controversial. And I'm going to say something so shocking, so edgy, so ridiculous that everyone is going to be talking about this and not that. Everyone's going to be talking about how I called Tim Walz a retard. Everyone's going to be talking about how I said this about Ilhan Omar. I'm going to pack 15 pounds of shit in a 10-pound bag of controversy and rage bait and clip farming so that nobody's going to pay attention to the fact that we didn't even release the October jobs report because it was so bad. No one's paying attention to a war in Venezuela that nobody wants. Black Friday consumer trends being a disaster. The job market failing. No one pay any attention to the complete and utter disaster. Republicans might lose their majority in the House before the midterms because so many people are jumping ship. But don't look at that. Look at my racist rant. Look at my stupid little rant on True Social that I'm not actually going to do shit about. I'm not going to follow through on any of it. That's the best part. It's not, I'm going to satisfy my base responding to their needs and demands. No, I am going to pander to my base as though I give a shit about what they want to distract them from how I'm betraying them in every other way.
Yeah, again, that is accurate. Now, next week, he'll probably say something to kiss Trump's ass because at the end of the day, Nick Fuentes has trapped himself in a corner. He can never effectively rebrand himself. He will never really have the credibility to be anything more than a right-wing provocateur. In this climate, perhaps at some point he can, run for office. Well, maybe he can't now, but, unless he got in trouble, has a felony or some shit like that, which maybe he does. I don't know off the top of my head, but unless that's the case, then he could win an election in this country, depending on where he ran, especially since so much of the conservative movement in this country seems to be rallying behind him. At one point, he was a pariah, but now he's becoming one of their de facto leaders.
Hey now, thank you so much for tuning in here at Politics and Paper. If you like what I do and you support my work, go ahead and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it and it really helps to support what we do here.